Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today's Tuesday, August 18th, 2015, and there is a news headline that is very curious. I want to take apart this news story, show the likely propaganda within, but on a deeper level, also show you how this number 93, central in this story, has been coded on black Americans all through the post-World War II era. Of course, the Tuskegee Airmen are known for being the first black fighter pilots in the U.S. military and participating in World War II. So let's dig into the story. We'll read the mainstream reporting, and then we will decode what is curious, and then we will dive into the deeper topics of people such as Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and more. All of those stories connect to this one. It will all make sense by the end. So, a 93-year-old Tuskegee Airman was carjacked and robbed in separate incidents in St. Louis on Sunday night. The veteran, who was not identified, was on his way to his daughter's house, remember that word daughter, at 11:30, remember that number, especially the 113 p.m. when he got lost and pulled to the side of the road to call her, police said, according to KTVI. A man entered the victim's vehicle, took cash from the man's pants pocket, got into another vehicle, and left the scene. The former airman tried following the thief, but he lost sight of him. The victim then drove to an intersection and asked two men there for help, but the men instead got into the victim's maroon 2012 Honda Accord sedan and drove away. The Tuskegee Airmen were a group of legendary African-American pilots who fought in World War II. They were the first black military aviators in the U.S. Armed Forces. So, the man was 93 that this supposedly happened to. Tuskegee has Pythagorean gematria of 30 and 39. Notice 39, the reflection of 93. Tuskegee has simple English gematria, using the alphabetic order, of 93, just like the man's age. Again, the word propaganda has gematria of 93. We often find it coded in propaganda stories. So often stories that are connected to World War II, which even this one is, through the Tuskegee Airmen, the number 93 is within. If you do a web search right now for 93-year-old Nazis, you will dig up several stories from the past few years about Nazis being discovered and tried at age 93. You will find stories of Holocaust survivors brought up at age 93. This number, a favorite of the propagandists, who are the Zionist Masons, the false Jews, as said in Revelation of the Bible. Of course, the state of Israel came into being because of World War II. The state of Israel's Congress is known as Knesset. Knesset has gematria of 93 and 39, as does their Speaker of House Edelstein, as does the prior Speaker of House, and that's because these numbers are so central to their Zionism. And also central to them is coding history by the numbers, which is their greatest giveaway, which is why I do these videos and teach these skills, because once you see it, and you have a set of knowledge to work with the rest of your life. So this incident happened Sunday, August 16th, 2015, a date with a 39 numerology connection, fitting with these other 39s and 93s. It's also a date with 59 gematria, a number coded over black Americans throughout history. Negro, slave, blues. Think about how Motown Records came out in 59. Miles Davis equals 59 in Pythagorean gematria. A possible reason for why they code 59 is because it is the kill number in Jewish gematria, and all throughout history there has been a real active agenda to suppress black life on this planet, here in the United States and abroad in Africa, as well as other corners of the globe. Very sick agenda, one in much need of exposing. So the date this carjacking robbery happened on, a date with these numbers. Notice he was going to his daughter's house. Daughter, a word with Pythagorean gematria of 39, also with simple English gematria of 84. And this story happened on the same day as the stabbing of Morgan Freeman's granddaughter at age 33. She had name gematria of 84. And right now, in a lot of fateful incidents involving black people, the number 84 is coded, which very much connects to the current president, Barack Hussein Obama. Notice the date of Sunday also has gematria of 84, matching up with the word daughter, just like the name of Morgan Freeman's granddaughter through marriage. With regards to that time of 11:30, it has that 113 sequence often coded in the hoaxes. The words mainstream, green screen, and dishonest all equal 113. I'll just show you real quick in case you don't trust me. Maybe you're new here and skeptical. Notice the 113, green screen. Notice the 113, dishonest. Notice the 113. It is Bava Kama A113 that says a Jew can circumvent a Gentile by lying to them. And this Zionist, Masonic, Jew-ran media lies to us all on the daily by people who probably have Bava Kama A113 magnets on their fridge and elsewhere. You know what I mean? So get this. Going back to the actual airmen who fought in World War II, they were deployed on the date of April 2nd, 1943. April 2nd is a lot like 4-2. And the number 42 has been coded over black Americans in a nasty way all throughout history. Think of the nastiest word for black Americans. It has that gematria 42 with 59 coded in it twice. Please look at the screen. Talking about the N word here with the 42 and 59 coding within. Notice that the numbers 5 and 9 are the only numbers with 42 gematria. Kind of like 59. Now get this, Truth Seeker. Thinking about Motown coming out in the year 59, the king of Motown was Marvin Gaye, who was murdered on the last day of being 44 years old, the kill number. King of Motown that came out in 59, and Marvin Gaye's birthday was April 2nd. He was murdered April 1st, the last day of being 44. Martin Luther King Jr. assassinated on April 4th. The last president to die in office was John F. Kennedy, the 44th term president. The name John F. Kennedy equals 59 with Pythagorean gematria. Think about Obama being the 44th president, elected 44 years after the Civil Rights Act. Think about Jackie Robinson wearing 42. These guys were deployed on 4/2/43 to bomb Africa. Black Americans asking to bomb the black nation, the black continent. This is all part of the sick agenda of the synagogue of Satan as mentioned in Revelation. The false Jews, Revelation has gematria of 49, a number they love to code on their doings. Also notice how that date they deployed, 4/2/43, has numerology of 68. Caskets go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long, a number often associated with death. MLK assassinated on April 4th, 68. Barack Obama, in simple English gematria, equals 68. As we go through this, we're going to see just how often they code these numbers. We're going to talk about Martin Luther King Jr., named gematria of 93, dead at 39. Reminiscent of this story, Malcolm X, 93. His assassin, Rosa Luis. I'm about to talk about it all, Truth Seeker. Notice that Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks was born February 4th, 1913. February is Black History Month. February is the only month with 42 gematria. February 28th, the last day of February except for in leap years, is the 59th day of the year. 4259, like those numbers coded on black Americans here in Black History Month. And think about the date February 4th. In parts of the world where they write the day before the month, that date is 4-2. Just like how February equals 42, just like this number coded on black Americans. And she's known for what she did on the bus. A word with 42 gematria, simple English. But there's more. Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks, Pythagorean gematria 93. Just like the name Beyonce Giselle Knowles, just like the name Brandy, whatever her middle name is, Norwood, just like so many important black Americans who have been front and center for a lot of their life. Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks came on the heels of Bayard Rustin, Irene Morgan, and others. People with interesting names in gematria. Bayard, a 24 name, the reflection of 42. Irene, a 33 name, one we find coded often. Think about this. The name Rodney King in Pythagorean gematria equals 59. He was born on April 2nd, like Marvin Gaye. He was beaten on March 3rd, 3-3, by the LAPD, which have simple English gematria of 33, just like the word police has Pythagorean gematria of 33, just like KKK, K the 11th letter, has gematria of 33, just like race war equals 33. And I'm not saying that protesting on a bus is the same as beating people. Not at all. But what I am saying is the people who run this media, who run the cultural narrative, use all these stories to stir up people. And they do them all by the numbers. It's like they're different ingredients in a big soup. Rosa Parks died October 24th, 2005. October is the only month with 33 gematria. Notice it's a date with 39 numerology and 59 numerology, just like the date of this carjacking story that we began with. Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks was also born in Tuskegee, Alabama, just like the Tuskegee Airmen, connected to the same location. We talked about how Tuskegee equals 93, just like her name. Down here, this note about the lynching of Parker. Parker, a 3342 name. That happened in the year 59. This story was unique because it created sympathy in the white Americans of what had been done to this black person, just out of hatred. It's kind of like the original Trayvon Martin story, if you will. Her bus boycott date, December 1st, 1955. A date with 24 numerology, the reflection of 42 like bus. A date with 68 numerology, numbers we talked about. Just like the gematria of Montgomery, Alabama, the date syncs up with the location. Oh yeah, I also have this note about how she sued the rap group Outkast, Big Boy and Andre 3000, but both of their birth names are Andre, names with 42 gematria. Can't make this stuff up. With regards to Malcolm X, a lot of interesting things. His assassin, Talmadge X, is someone with a name gematria of 33. Malcolm X in simple English gematria is 93. He was born Malcolm Little, number with 147 gematria, another interesting number. Don't want to get bogged down with all these numbers though, Truth Seeker. Born on a date with some interesting numbers. If you read about his history, lots of important things happened to him in 46 and 64. 46 and 64. Numbers associated with a thelema and Zionism, which are again connected to 93, the number we started with. Malcolm X, though, what's most interesting to me, aside from that assassin name and his own name gematria, is the date he died on, February 21st, 1965. This is a date with a life lesson number of 44, and his assassin got 44 years in prison. 44, the kill number. Martin Luther King Jr. would be assassinated 3 years later on 4-4. Again, last president to die in office was the 44th term president, John F. Kennedy. Malcolm X would also die 187 days before the assassination of JFK. Of course, 187 is the homicide code with police. Let's take a break from the numbers and just think about this Malcolm X quote for a second, especially in light of what I'm talking about with the media being coded and waged against us. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. That quote is so true. So many people in this world hate people who talk truth and worship and bow down to the real tyrants. That would be the vast majority of people living right now. You look at the critics I have, The critics I have are a perfect example of this quote. Martin Luther King Jr., Truth Seeker, a few interesting things. His initials, MLKJ, break down to 4321, kind of like a countdown. This year, 2015, his holiday fell on January 19th. 119, like Star of David, like the reverse of 911. And it seems like a lot of negative things are being foreshadowed for Obama this year. We will see if they materialize. The name Martin Luther King Jr. fully spelled out has gematria of 116, 911 upside down. But if you drop the junior and just do the abbreviation like it's normally written, it's gematria of 93. No accident. He was assassinated at the age of 39. The reflection of 93, the numbers we began with in this post. He was killed on 4/4. Show you something in case you're new here and you haven't seen this before. Remember, the kill number is 44. If you write out 44, it sums to 144. If you write out April 4th and sum it, it sums to 144. We were talking about JFK a little bit. Oh, if I can spell Sagittarius right, I did. JFK was assassinated on the first day of Sagittarius, another 144 gematria. He's the 44th term, just to show you how these numbers overlap, how they get routinely coded. Obama, the 44th president, ran on Hope. Hope has gematria of 44, the kill number. Coretta Scott King, picture shown of her in 64, the year of the Civil Rights Act. Remember, civil rights has gematria of 64. Barack Hussein Obama equals 64. He was elected 44 years after the Civil Rights Act. She died of respiratory failure, not being able to breathe, a common theme right now. She had name gematria of 74, which is interesting. She also had initials, Coretta Scott King, of 33. More interesting numbers. Perhaps a coincidence, but perhaps not, because so often these celebrities, they're married to people by the numbers. Perfect example of this is Jay-Z and Beyonce, married on April 4th, the anniversary of MLK assassination, as well as Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, who were married on the 144th day of the year, 144. We just talked about how that's all connected, April 4th. The name Barack Hussein Obama, again, 64, like civil rights, 64, Civil Rights Act of 64. Him becoming the 44th president 44 years later. MLK being the face of the Civil Rights Act, assassinated 4/4. Signs of how all things are done by the numbers, truth seeker. So that's what I wanted to educate about. The significance of these numbers, how they're coded over and over again. Numbers of significance. The mayor in Philadelphia right now is another great example. Michael Anthony Nutter, name gematria of 93. The name Michael Nutter, 59. Two of the numbers we talked about being coded on black Americans. Right now, Michael Anthony Nutter is selling out the nation by lying to them about the Philadelphia train wreck. So that's what I mean when these people are agents and part of an agenda. It's hard for me to even acknowledge this because I grew up with Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X being possibly my two greatest heroes. And I'd still say, even if they were agents, in this world that we've grown up in, they still are, because I don't know anybody else who's spoken more truth to power. But I know that what both of them did, Malcolm X more so at the end of his life than when he was younger, but they both taught nonviolence. And the problem with nonviolence is that we are up against a people who have no respect for humanity, have no moral compass, and who are, in truth, vicious killers. And for we as sane people, honest people, good-hearted people to overcome them, it might very well take violence. So I don't think we should pledge to being nonviolent. I think we should pledge to being strong, determined to overthrow this, and if necessary, willing to use violence. Because there are a lot of people who need to get drug out in the street and shot, including the people who wage this media against us by the numbers. All right, Truth Seeker, I think I touched on all the points. If you have any questions, please leave them in the messages. All right, until next time.